Reddit comments. To all of the shy guys out there, how did you get a girlfriend? Well, my last girlfriend was a friend I had a crush on. We were playing the dot game, which is where you try to tap the other person's nose and say dot. It leads to a lot of wrestling if you're playing on a couch. I had her pinned down and we were both laughing. Then I just kissed her. Lucky for me, she was thinking just kiss me already or else that would have been bad. If you're at the dot game stage, kissing is almost guaranteed. The moment I knew my last GF and I would end up together, we wrestled each other for a hat. We ruined the hat, but I won. I sat back down next to her and put it on her head, just a bit too forward leaning as to cover her eyes. When she smiled was when I was thinking, done, this is a thing now. Was sitting in second day of BO class in college. Class had 100 plus students in it. I like to get there early to reserve my seat. Was a very shy guy and my row was always empty except me, which I didn't mind at all. Anyways, I was sitting there and I look over at the far door to watch the students pile in. A girl, obviously on the tennis team, walks in 10/10. I look at her, she looks at me, I look away because I didn't want to be awkward. Next thing I know, she's right next to me and asks if the seat next to me is taken. It isn't. She sits down. I don't know what to do, but I have to do something. Look over and say, I'm Benesapet. What's your name? And put my hand out. Immediately regret the decision, because maybe a handshake is too formal. She awkwardly shakes it and gives me her name. I ask how long she's been playing tennis. She doesn't. She's on the golf team, not the tennis team. Feel like a dumbass but keep trying. She asks a couple of questions about me. I had just got back from living in France for a couple of years. I'm half French, and tell her. She's impressed and asks me to say a couple things in French. More impressed. Class starts. She mentions how she'll need a study buddy to get through this. I catch on. Tell her we should make a study group. She's all for it. I get her number to set the group up. Class ends. We go our separate ways. Next day of BO. I get to class a little later than usual. Walk in. She's in her old spot. She saved my spot. I'm on cloud 9 and never miss a day of BO. We start studying together before exams. Then we start studying together every day. I have a car. I take her out to eat every now and then. She invites me hiking a month later. Just me and her. We go up the mountain to a spot that overlooks the city. She plays my favorite song by Blues Traveler. That's when I fall in love. Ask her out on the hike down. She says yes. First kiss 2 years later, we are still together. After drinking 2 bottles of wine, I was talked, against my better judgment, into going to an event at a club with 2 friends. There I met a beautiful and smiley girl who one of them knew from elsewhere. During the sobering up period, I remembered I dislike people and clubs, so I retreated to the 24-hour cafe/lounge place across the street and drank tea, where friends and accompanying beautiful smiley girl eventually joined me. She and I talked, and it was great. She wasn't difficult to talk to like everyone else. When we all went our separate ways, we hugged and agreed we should definitely see each other again. After that we spoke on Facebook, but didn't see each other again for like 3 or 4 months, until she said she was coincidentally coming to meet friends near where I live, and that this would be a good opportunity to meet up. I later learned these friends were a ruse. We met at a pub, and talked for ages about lots of our favorite things. I asked if she wanted to come stay at my house, and we've been together the 2 years since. We live together, and she's asleep next to me right now, and is by far the best thing to ever happen to me. I'd never been with anyone before her, and was beginning to give up hope. When I was in high school, I was extremely shy. When I moved to a new town, I saw a girl in my homeroom who was very cute and interesting looking. I had a thing for old girls at the time, still do, and she had purple hair and was super artsy. I basically stalked her by finding her liver journal and reading every post she made. I learned a ton about her this way, as creepy as it sounds. I learned that she really liked books, so I started bringing in weird books on philosophy that are left out in plain view. So she started asking me about the books, and I would casually show interest in things that I knew she was super into. Obviously, we really hit it off, and would talk on AIM every day. She eventually confessed that she had a crush on me, so I reciprocated, and we dated for around 4 months. First girl I did the deed with, but that's another ridiculous story. Now many years later, I met my wife at the gym by pretending to need fitness advice. So my answer is still the same: deception. It wasn't easy. We used to work together, and for 3 months I was asking people at work if the girl I was interested in was single. Asked 3 people and never got an answer. Asked my best friend who also worked there at the time, and he told me she didn't. Took me another month to ask her. My friend kept asking if I had asked her out yet. I had it all planned out. I had a vacation coming up. She worked the Monday night. I went up right before close and bought some shit I really didn't need, but used it as an excuse. I stayed after and talked to my friend who helped me out. After a while I started half-ass making conversation, acting like I was looking at the schedule, even though it didn't matter to me since I wasn't working. I felt the lump in my throat growing and growing. I knew if I didn't ask I probably never would. I felt like my nervousness was showing, and she was probably wondering what this weirdo was doing just creeping around her. I finally got the balls to straight up ask her if she wanted to go to dinner. She looked kinda freaked out, and I immediately started to panic. Then she did with a smile, yes. I couldn't believe it, but instead of keeping it inside I said, really? Still hate myself for that, but I never let her live down her answer. Why not? She didn't realize it at that time, but that night is quite possibly what saved me. That was 2 years ago, and we just got married this past May. Don't regret a single moment of it. Oh man. It was my first day in my math class. I saw this really pretty curly haired girl. She caught my eye, and I sat close to her. The teacher ended up being horrible, student teacher. So she would ask for help to explain stuff and I would too after following her lead. Eventually a group of us were confused enough we made a study group, and I still remember how happy I was when I got her number to make plans to study and look over the stuff the teacher didn't explain good enough. I ended up transferring out of the class because the teacher really was horrible, but we stayed in touch. One night she had a horrible pain and her roommate had plans elsewhere, so I took her to the hospital instead of studying, and we bonded on a whole other level. It was like I'd known her for years. Like she was instantly my new best friend. And then we just fell for each other after all the inside jokes and daily help we'd give each other. I know I got really lucky, but it made up 4 years of bad luck. Tinder of all places. It has the stereotype, but I firmly believe that you find what you're looking for on these apps. I was on it in college, and there's definitely ample opportunity for hookups. Last year I downloaded it again and started meeting a lot of really interesting people. One girl was going for her PhD at Caltech, another was working for a non-profit that helps cancer survivors. One girl was in town for the weekend and was looking for a weekend date. I couldn't say no. My point is that if you're looking for a relationship you'll find it. If you're looking for hookups you'll find it. I've thought about using Tinder just for the hell of it, but I'm worried that someone I know will see my profile. Also I think I look a bit nicer in real life than in photos. So, who cares if they see it? That means they are also on Tinder. Also no one gives a darn. There are so many people dating online now. I've seen profiles for lawyers, doctors, it's all there. Everyone is either trying to get laid or find a relationship at some point. As for the picture thing, it's really not that hard to get a good picture. That's a lame excuse, and you know it. Put on some nice clothes, hang out with friends, and have one of them snap a pic. I went on a hike and came across a really cool river. Bam, profile pic. I think if you're interested you should give it a try. Flip it. At worst you'll be back to where you are now, but maybe something comes of it. To be honest I wasn't looking for a relationship necessarily, but you meet some really cool people. Just gotta put yourself put there. When I was 19, one of my extrovert friends hooked me up with another introvert I never would met otherwise. We started off exchanging emails. We lived 200 miles apart. This was in 2005, before smartphones with video chat, before video chat was really even a thing. I had no idea what she even looked like. Our 8th anniversary is Monday, and we are taking the kids to dinner and a movie to celebrate. Did you find out how she looks like? We are still too shy to look.